Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Day 2 of applying the atomic habits, trying to read 15 minutes a day. So I'm going to continue reading the atomic habits workbook for today on the next topic where we left off yesterday. So today we are going to look at the habit loop. Okay, it is the subtopic of still the first chapter in this book regarding what is the topic of the introduction. Let me see. The foundations, the science of habit itself. Okay, so I'm gonna get my phone and time the 15-minute clock so that everyone knows the timer. I want to do it for 15 minutes. 15 minutes, okay? So 15 minutes, let's go. Alright. So the habit loop. A habit is an automatic behavior that has been formed by your brain encoding a feedback loop. So a habit is basically something that is an automatic behavior that acts like a feedback loop in our brain. Whenever you encounter a new problem in your life, your brain tries out a solution for it. If the attempted solution doesn't work, your brain sees it as a failure and nothing is encoded. But if the attempted solution results in something positive, a reward, your brain takes note of the behavior that led there. The next time you face the same problem, your brain will try out the solution that worked before, and if it again results in a reward, the solution will be further enforced. So this is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created our brain in copying and making it a routine for every solution that gives us a reward facing our problems. Okay, and if you face problems repeatedly, your brain will automate the process of solving it. That's what your habits are, a series of automatic solutions that solve the problems and stresses you face regularly. How beautiful Allah created our brain just for us to always solve problems. This automatic nature is why once a habit has formed, we do it without even thinking about it, which is incredibly powerful. It means that you can perform a habit on automatic without expending your brain's precious and limited energy consciously thinking about it. Habits are energy savers, reducing cognitive load and freeing up mental capacity for our tasks. Building habits in the present allows you to do more of what you want in the future. But this automatic nature also means that once they are formed, they can be incredibly difficult to break. So how do habits form and how do they break? The process of building a habit can be divided into 4 simple steps: cue, craving, response, and reward. This 4-step pattern is the backbone of every habit, and your brain runs through these steps in the same order each time. So what is a cue? Cue is the thing that triggers your brain. The word here is trigger, I guess. Right? It triggers your brain to initiate the behavior. It is a piece of information, all right, that indicates a reward might be nearby. Okay, that's a cue. Craving, the motivational force behind every habit. It is the desire for something about your internal state to be changed, and it is how your mind interprets the cue, transforming it from just a sound or sight into a problem to be solved. Response, the actual habit that you perform, which can take the form of a thought or an action. The response is the actual solution to the problem. Okay. And reward, the end goal of every habit, the thing you hoped to achieve by performing the behavior in the first place. So basically the cue is about noticing the reward. Craving is about wanting the reward. Response is about obtaining the reward, and reward satisfies us and teaches us that performing this behavior results in the reward. Together, these 4 steps form a neurological feedback loop that allows you to create automatic habits. This cycle is known as the habit loop, starting for cue, craving, response, and then reward. To see what this looks like in your own life, take a few habits, a couple positive and a couple negative, that you repeat every day, and for each one identify the cue, craving, response, and reward. Because habit are automatically identifying them components can be tricky that you might expect, but learning these skills is crucial to breaking existing habits and building strong new ones. So there's actually a page dedicated for us to scribble down, just to um, maybe make us conscious on what are the cue, craving, response, and reward that we usually do in our existing habits in our daily life. I'm going to do this afterwards because this is just about reading. Okay, the four laws of behavior change. Okay, the habit loop teaches us how to understand our habits, but not necessarily how to actually go about building and breaking them. For that, we need the four laws of behavior change, which turn the four steps of habit building into a simple set of rules for creating good habits, breaking bad ones. The laws show us how to build good habits, and the inverted laws show us how to break bad ones. You can think of each law as a lever that influences human behavior. When the levers are in the right positions, creating good habits is effortless. When they are in the wrong position, it is nearly impossible. Here they are. So there's a table, and how are these four simple steps of the habit loop enforces building good habits and breaking habits. For instance, for the cue, the first law is make it obvious. Breaking a bad habit, that is for building good habits. Make it obvious. For breaking bad habits is make it invisible. All right. So that's first thing. Second, craving. The second law, make it attractive, make it unattractive. For respond, make it easy. The third law is make it difficult. Reward. The fourth law makes it satisfying, make it unsatisfying. The four laws are how we take the theory that we have been reviewing and make it practical, turning it from an idea into something we can actually use to change the course of our lives. For the rest of this workbook, after taking a moment to assess our habit landscape, we will focus on the four laws. We will dig into them in detail, practicing how we can use them to build good habits and break bad ones. So I think that is the end of one chapter. Now it's the book continues on habit assessment, understanding your current landscape and planning for success. So the power assessment. So what do we need to do here? Before you begin changing your habits, it's critical to start with an assessment. This isn't the most exciting part of the process. I get it. When you're motivated to change, you want to jump straight into action. You want to start the new morning routine, download the meditation app, or get the gym membership. But here's the thing, it does you no good to change before we understand what needs changing. Assessment is necessary to ensure two fundamental things: that you're solving the right problem and that you're solving it the right way. It's remarkable how easy it is to spend months of effort optimizing for the wrong behavior or chasing a goal that doesn't actually align with the life you want to build. Without assessment, we default to assumptions, and our assumptions are often wrong. In this section, we'll disrupt the pattern by starting from a place of awareness. Assessment creates clarity, it reveals the hidden patterns that govern your days, exposes the false assumptions that have been holding you back, and highlights opportunities you might otherwise miss. Most important, it ensures that when you do decide to climb, you're scaling the right mountain. To do this effectively, we'll use what I call the ABZ pyramid. A represents an honest assessment of your current reality, not where you think you are or wish you were. Z represents where you want to end up, the person you want to become, and the life you want to live. B, through Y are the steps that it takes to get from A to Z. I see. Here's the key insight. Most people think that to get from A to Z, they need to map out every step from B to Y. But that's not true. You only need to know B. The path to Z is just a series of B's, one after another. In this section, we will start by tackling A and Z, assessing your current reality without judgment, and determining whether you want to go. By the end, you will be able to find B, the next right step, which is the habit we'll spend the rest of this work. Book mastering each section will provide a number of strategies for exploring each element, with the hope that some will resonate. Don't worry if not everything works for you. Focus on what you find most useful. Remember, all you need to do to get to Z is repeat B again and again. One small step, the other, and then another, then another. That's how mountains are climbed and lives are transformed. All right. So there's also a workbook, Your Current Reality. Success is not a goal to reach, to finish, to cross. It's a system to improve and understand. Again, since this is a workbook, there's actually an assessment whereby um, I need to assess myself by writing down the questions. The big picture, there's the questions like how would you rate your current level of contentment with your personal and professional life and why? What are your top three priorities at the moment? What are you optimizing for right now? What major projects are you working on? How is each going? What are the non-negotiable obligations in your life right now? Okay, what is working well in your life and what isn't? What are the things that keeps holding you back and how could you overcome them? What are the major things you know you would like to change in your life and why? This is interesting. Time and energy audit. I often think that every hour in the day has equal potential. If you are awake for 16 hours a day, we tell ourselves that we have 16 hours to use for all the things we want to accomplish. But this isn't the case. Subtract the all hours necessary for taking care of our basic needs, daily responsibilities, and lag time around activities, and we are left with far fewer. Acknowledge that in the remaining hours, your energy and focus are high for only a fraction of time, and we are left with fewer still. The truth is that each of us has only 2 to 6 high quality hours every day. Understanding which these are for is crucial to using them wisely, especially when it comes to spotting your habits. Build habits that work with your time and energy levels, and you set yourself up for success. Building habits that don't is a recipe for failure. Optimizing your time is not about figuring out how to use more hours in a day. It's about figuring out how to maximize the ones you already have. So let's start by taking an audit of your time and energy over the course of the next week. For each hour in the day that you are awake, jot down a one-word description of what you were doing from okay, and two, mark okay, how high your energy levels felt. This is how you determine your best hours. Note, capture your week as it is. Don't try to increase productivity. Accuracy is key. Look at the grid. Note the patterns you're seeing. This is a very good exercise. So again, this is a workbook. There's so many questions. I think it's very good to answer these questions basically. What are the major ways that you're spending your time right now? How many good high quality high energy hours do you have a day? Which are they? What activities are currently getting these best hours? What are your lowest energy hours a day? What do you want to get done in your best hours versus your left hours? Now let's think a big picture. When feels like it's consuming more of your attention or time that it should, what's currently your biggest source of stress or mental energy drain? Change is hard, and trying to make too much change at once is a recipe for burnout. Before you embark on changing your habits, what kinds of significant changes or transitions are you already navigating or anticipating navigation soon? Being aware of this can help you decide what additional changes makes the most sense for you to take on right now. Past attempts. When designing habits for the future, one of the most powerful tools is our past track record. Looking at what's worked and what hasn't is incredibly useful data for making future plans. First, think about the most beneficial habits you've had or currently have in your life. Write them below, along with what's made them have a positive impact. Now consider your past of current habits again, but this time think about the ones that you have been the most successful at sticking with. Write the habits below along with why you think they've struck in your life. Looking at your past data, reflect on what has made habits positive and sticky in your life. What patterns are you seeing and what can you learn from these? Now let's look at your attempts at building and breaking habits. Below list recent or notable attempts at behavior change that you see as a successful. Try to think about for building and some for breaking. For each, note what worked well. Habits, building, breaking, what worked. Alright. Do the same exercise, but this think about what hasn't worked. For each attempt, list what didn't work, and then whether this obstacle was internal or external. Okay, looking at your past data, reflect on what hasn't worked, what has worked for you when it comes to behavior change. What patterns are you seeing, and what can you learn from these? Current habit inventory. Wow, there's so many questions. I think that I need time to really go through this, and this is all again just assessments. Assessment your ideal identity. Okay, goal setting. The next step, goal to systems. Goal, current system. Okay, choose your habits. Wow, this is just lots of questions. Alright, time's up, and that marks the completion of the second day on how building a habit of reading each day. See you tomorrow. Assalamualaikum.